Well. It's Tuesday, December 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Bob Harris. This is the Football Guys Audible YouTube channel, and it's time to go on the hot seat. But first, footballguys.com, that's the website. I appreciate you all joining me here every Tuesday at this very time with a great guest, as you can see this week too. Also on Saturdays, 11 a.m. For my Ask Me Anything live streams, with all kinds of fun stuff going on there as well. I better put this out on the blue sky too, just so everybody can come. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you haven't already done those things, hit the like button, or you don't have to like us, but how can you not? Because I am joined today by a fantastic guest. We have a new group of staffers here at Football Guys, and the class is led by the great Rachel. You know her at Tootsie Pop 6. You know her from the the Unwind FF shows. Rachel, welcome to the hot seat, and welcome to Football Guys.
Thank you, Bob. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. So tell everyone a little bit about the Unwind thing, what you got going on, and how you've been doing that.
So I started Unwind over a year ago, and we meet on Zoom. It's a group of women who love fantasy football. We also have a group chat and a Discord server. And we have our next Unwind next Wednesday, the 11th at 8:30 Eastern. So reach out to me or Unwind FF if you'd like to join us.
Yeah, it's a great time. And also, so tell us a little bit about joining Football Guys. Pull the curtain back a little bit. Give us a little bit of the process here. I'm sure everyone out there is interested. We'll get to everything here. But I want to hear a little bit about that. And just kind of your journey in the industry, too. How you got here.
Sure. Well, in the industry, I started creating content in July of 2023, writing some articles for various sites. And in October, the lovely group at Football Guys posted that they were looking for writers. So I took a shot and submitted my application and writing samples, and they decided to bring me on board.
And a great decision it was. And this is like the first show that you'll be doing with us. I'm sure there will be many more. John Bonneville always comes in with the insightful commentary. The feeling when you roster CMC at his handcuff, but not his handcuffs. And we're going to get into some of the free agent or waiver wire acquisitions. Look, we've got it's week 14. We got 6 teams on bye this week. Denver, Indianapolis, New England, Washington, Baltimore, and Houston. There's some players there that you might want to use. There'll be some things that we have to work through. And so we're here to help you do that. And as always, we'll be looking at Sigmund Bloom's waiver wire article. You can get that on the site. It's completely free. So make sure you check that out as always. But in the meantime, we're going to bring you some of his picks, have some of his bids, and then kind of share our thoughts on them. And we'll take your questions as always. We'll start out at the quarterback position. I want to say, I like Bloom's lists always. I think there are a couple other players, and we have a list of others that we like as well. But Russell Wilson is, I think, a must roster right now, especially as you head into the stretch run. I don't think they're going to play the Cincinnati Bengals every week, but they've, and they've struggled in the red zone a little bit. But Wilson seems like a locked-in play to me. You on board with him?
I am. Yeah, he is definitely producing good things over there at the Steelers.
Yeah, you look at some of the underlying numbers. One thing Sigmund points out: all the games could be affected by weather, but he won't get the Bengals until week 18. But man, you look at some of the weapons around him. Calvin Austin has a concussion this week, so that might be a little bit of an issue. But yeah, this is a rock solid play to me as well. I think some of the other picks here that I like, Bryce Young. So just in general, Bryce Young seems to me like he has at least forestalled the notion that the Carolina Panthers have to get a new quarterback in the draft. Are you on board with that?
Yes, I'm on board. He has been producing the last 2 weeks, and coincidentally with Adam Thielen returning from injury. So I think that's not a coincidence.
Yeah, I think that's no coincidence either. I thought he did it. It's amazing that he did it for me against the Chiefs. I think the thing that I've noticed about him, Rachel, is the things that they said about him when they drafted him, right? So you looked at him, he wasn't the most physically imposing guy in the class, and people had questions, but his superpower was processing and getting the ball out and making all the great reads and everything. We had not seen a lot of signs of that, right? Until the Chiefs, he was great against the blitz. He did all the things they wanted to. Coming off the 2-game benching, seems like it helped him out a lot. and maybe Dave Canales did too. We have a lot of history with Dave Canales going back to Seattle. He was part of Geno Smith's turnaround to comeback player of the year season. And then last year with Baker Mayfield. And he seems like he leans heavily on the running backs. We'll talk about Jonathan Brooks here. But just going down the stretch run, how interested are you? And I know we're going to talk about Adam Thielen too. I mean, it seems like every week, Chuba Hubbard, maybe Xavier Legette, there seems like there are Dave Moore, like David if you're Moore, playing DFS, it seems like there's players you can play here. What's your level of confidence in all these guys?
Before the last 2 weeks, it was not very high, but these 2 weeks have really boosted my confidence in what they can produce. So I don't know what happened. Something switched in Bryce Young. I don't know if it was Canales or maybe Thielen's leadership in the locker room with him being healthy. And I know he came from the Vikings, so I know he has strong leadership in the locker room. I had to plug that Homer. Yeah, so I think, just the leadership around him, I think helps a young rookie come along. He really struggled last year. He struggled beginning of this year. So I think that 2-game benching just really motivated him. Like, I need to get it together and figure out what to do. And maybe he tapped on the leaders in the locker room, like, what should I do? And look at what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm honest to say, and John Bonneville makes a great point. Would help if they draft some good wide receivers. I mean, Laviska Shenault just released by the Seahawks this week after a couple horrible fumbles on kick returns this past week. Jonathan Mingo now battling for snaps in Dallas and getting some, by the way. And Legette, I don't know. The jury's still out on Legette, Mr. Bonneville. Give me more thoughts if you have them on him. We may discuss him more as we get into the wide receivers that are available. But I want to say the Canales thing, like, I wasn't skeptical, right? Like, clearly he's had success, right? But I mean, like, was it him? Were there other factors there? I mean, in Tampa Bay, there was some great supporting cast. Baker Mayfield, the switch flipped, but 2 times, maybe a coincidence, 3 times, probably not. I think we need to start giving him the credit he deserves. And look, working for David Tepper, you better get some results in pretty short order. He is not a patient man, it turns out. So I think this is heading in a good direction. I think they've forestalled some things. I would love to see Bryce Young turn into the thing they believed he was when they drafted him. I always thought he was undersized, and I worried about it. I'm less worried about it now, although he is still very undersized. I think Mr. Scamper's right on point there. Lester Freeman convinced Laviska would have been good had he not started his career with 2 organizations that were crumbling in the sea. Fair. It's a fair assessment. Like, how many players, like, you used to think, man, they just the right thing. Well, let's take Baker Mayfield, for example. Right. In Cleveland, gets a little blowback from teammates or teammates' families, and just, I thought he was a good fit in Cleveland. You wonder how much Cleveland wishes they had held on to him, like, at this point, right?
Right. Yeah. Seeing what he's doing in Tampa Bay, he's like, oh, we should have kept him.
A little salty is Bonneville, but they passed on McConkey and A.D. Mitchell for Legette, and I think both are infinitely better route runners. Well, McConkey is definitely bearing that out. Michael Vidal, we're going to get to this in a minute. There's some discussion to be had here. I want to go back to the quarterbacks, though. Still some more on this list here. Drake May, I don't know if Royal Slade's in the chat at this point. Always mindful of his, warnings about the New England Patriots. The offensive line's horrible. Drake May has not been horrible. Just your general impressions of him. Like, going into the game this week, he had 10 touchdown passes to 10 different receivers, right? Like, he's running out of options here. He's got to start narrowing the funnel a little bit. But for him, the numbers have not been horrible for him.
Right. Yeah. He's definitely showing that he is a force to be reckoned with, and to not count the Patriots out just yet.
Yeah, I think the thing that carried him early on, like, I want to say from week 6 on, he's been quarterback 9. I mean, that's pretty darn good. Ahead of, let's say, Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Caleb Williams, Matthew Stafford, Tua Tagovailoa, who might have missed some of those games, Kyler Murray. I mean, that's not bad. That's pretty impressive anyway. So I do think Drake May should not be on waiver wires. He should be locked up and owned in pretty much every league. So go out and there, grab him, especially in super flexes if you're out there playing in those. Let's see if we got any more comments here that we need to address. Herbert might have a hard time. Like, if there's no Lad McConkey, he'll definitely have a hard time. His weaponry is pretty limited. He's seems to be able to get the job done most games, but who's going to step up? Is it going to be Quentin Johnston making a catch or an occasional catch? Or is it going to be the great Will Dissly? Will we be firing the dismissal? Or will it be Josh Palmer, who's he like? So let me just ask you this, Rachel. If there was no Ladd McConkey this week, number one, what would be your level of interest in Justin Herbert? Like maybe Drake May ahead of him this week? Oh, but would there be one of those receivers you'd be interested in playing, or would you just be avoiding it altogether?
I think Quentin Johnston would be someone I'd have interest in, but other than that, not really. And then, yeah, if you need a quarterback, I don't think Herbert would be my first choice. I'd look at May, and even Bryce Young would be someone I would maybe slide ahead.
Yeah, there's a couple other quarterbacks that we're going to get to that we'll talk about in our others list, but one that's not on there is Mac Jones.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I feel like in Houston, it was so bad the first 2 weeks that maybe I'm overplaying my hand here, but he looks serviceable, certainly on the intermediate passes, maybe not on the long passes. He wasn't really effective, but with like guys like Parker Washington, great 100-yard games. Congratulations to him. Evan Ingram, who's, my new hero after taking on the late hitter. And Brian Thomas Jr. can make the plays on his own. I'll just say this, that those guys finished. Parker Washington was wide receiver 7 on the week. Brian Thomas Jr. was wide receiver 14 on the week. If nothing else, this game gives you hope that you can continue playing those guys in a pretty favorable schedule down the stretch. Do you agree?
I do agree. Yeah, they're getting it done.
It's true. All right, let's roll back up to the top here. See if anyone has anything interesting. A lot of running back talk. And yes, Neil, we think it's going to be a very hard time if he doesn't have all his weapons, for sure. Okay, like if these guys are available, and I think they probably, Aiden O'Connell will be for sure. The big game against the Chiefs. Is that a mirage or the real deal? Is it like, so for like guys like that, Aiden O'Connell, Mac Jones, what would be your level of interest? Would it be only in super flexes coming up in a 6-team bye week?
Yeah, those would be more a super flex option. I would not put them in a 1 QB league.
I think Jameis Winston, on the other hand, if he is available in leagues, just on volume alone, like not every game is going to be last night in Denver. I mean, that was ridiculous. He had 30 passes in the first, had 25 passes in a quarter. But even like the first 3 games he started, Rachel, it was 41, 46, 46. I mean, that kind of volume matters. And like, even if like, we don't care if he throws interceptions. I don't care about the pick sixes. Sorry, Browns fans. I'm going to be okay with that. As long as he's throwing some touchdowns and he's got some good receiving talent at every spot. Like when Cedric Tillman comes back, he's got Tillman, the great Jerry Jeudy. I'm obligated to say that because Mike Dempsey has designated him as such. David Njoku, who just tore me asunder this week.
Oh, yeah, he saved me in one.
Elijah Moore, he ruined me, destroyed me.
Oh, he destroyed. Oh, yeah. Help me out.
I'm glad somebody got something out of him.
But yeah, I would pick Jameis over some other guys, over Mac Jones.
I think I'm just going to check the projections for this week. I mean, it's a tough. He's got Pittsburgh this week. Oh, let's see what the early projections are on him, just for giggles here.
Yeah.
Not great because it is Pittsburgh. But what, Joe Burrow finished his quarterback 8 last week. Wasn't his best game, but it was a better game than I expected against that defense. So we've got Jameis Winston at quarterback 16, so a solid super flex play. I'd take that. All right. Let's look at some of these other. And so there are other quarterbacks. We're going to talk about some of our others, our outlier guys later. But I feel like Will Levis should probably be higher up on the list. If Will Levis is available, like it's not reliable and he gets sacked too much, but man, he makes the big plays.
I have him in a super flex league. I'm playing him. He's coming through with some points.
All right, we'll cover these again. So Russell Wilson on Bloom's list. And again, go get the article. It's available at footballguys.com completely free. Russell Wilson bid 25 to 50%. First locked in starter. I think that's not unreasonable. Bryce Young, Carolina, bid 25, 50%. Same price there. I don't know if I wouldn't play Drake May ahead of those guys. I would like, if he's the bargain, I'm buying for sure. So let's see if we got any more questions. So here's the thing, Scampers. I was sure of it. Like we went into this game, the highest score against the Denver Broncos defense, the highest quarterback score had been 18 points, right? They're giving up an average of 11 points a game. I did not foresee the Jameis Winston 500-yard explosion. In fact, I was banking against it. If anyone read my in and out column, they know this. That's why I was out on the Njoku. Not because I didn't think David Njoku could fare well, or Jerry Jeudy or anybody. I just thought it's tough to get over on these guys. And Pat Surtain has given up some games. One of them was Zay Flowers earlier this year. So he had like the first 4-game stretch where like nobody, big names like what DK Metcalf. I mean, really good receivers were being held to single-digit points. And then Zay Flowers comes along and gets to like 29 against them. Then goes on to Tampa Bay, like the most favorable matchup in the land, and gets 4 points in week 7. I don't know. So, Jeff, we're not doing start-sit questions because it's too darn early in the week, but I think I already know Rachel's answer here, so I'll let her do this one.
Yes, Darnold, the Vikings. Just because of the weapons. He's got Justin Jefferson. He's got Jordan Addison, Hawkinson, Jalen Naylor coming in, Aaron Jones. So I think with the weapons, Darnold is. So if he's on your waiver wire, yeah, I would get Darnold.
Yeah, I would say if these are waiver wire pickups, I would probably be more on the Darnold. I mean, he had kind of a rough sledding for a while, but just the weapons alone, I think that's the point, right? Like, I like Justin Herbert. He's got some mobility. I think he's probably, I'll go out on a limb here and say he's the better quarterback. I just don't know that he's in the better situation in terms of offensive coaching. Kevin O'Connell is gold in that regard, and the weapons, I think you're 100% right.
And if Vlad McConkey's out, then that's not good for Herbert.
No, that is not good for Herbert. Let's see. Surtain only allowed Jeudy to get 20 yards. I did see the breakdown. I should have mentioned that. I did see the breakdown. It was not like there was not shadow coverage. So I should have been that. So, Jeff, how about this? We're not doing sit-start questions on Tuesday, but if you have to know now, I mean, you're going to have to sort it out yourself. Sorry, man. Hit me on Saturday. I'll help you out. Saturday is the waiver wire, or someone in the chat wants to help you out. Winston is a bargain bin. Quarterback Mac Jones is a mattress in an alley. Lester, always getting it good. The Levis deep ball hunting has been his strength for the last couple of years. Man, where you've got Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, who we're going to talk about here, John, it's hard to go wrong. Volume, that's been the key, Scampers. I mean, to me, now, yeah, Tomlin will try to limit them and may be able to, right? Like, there is a dud coming. There's a dud coming for the Browns at some point, and it might be this week. Oh, so these are in your waiver wire. Oh, so okay. Well, I mean, like I'm probably this week. I'm probably saying, looking at the schedule. Let me bring up the schedule. So Pittsburgh's playing Cleveland. Darnold is playing Atlanta.
It's a home game for Vikings.
Yeah, it's not Herbert because I'm not eager to play it. I know big things can happen against the Chiefs at times. Aiden O'Connell just put up a big game against them, but I mean, I'm playing the odds here. I'm probably leaning Darnold. Here's the difference for me is Pittsburgh has been horrible in the red zone, and they weren't this week. They got all the scoring this week. Part of that is the Bengals defense is one of the worst in the red zone. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go Darnold here. And hope the weaponry carries him. But I think it's fairly close. But I think the way it lays out for me, I'm doing that. And sorry, man. Sorry, Jeff. I thought you were asking a sit-start question. I can't sit-start yet. It's too early. Picking up? Yeah, we'll pick up. Pick up 2 if you can. Keep someone from your opponent's roster. So here's where we get into the running back. And we had the comment, is Isaac Grendo a bomb waiting to go up? So I think right off the get-go, Sigma Bloom has him at 50 to 100%. I think he's a 100% play. I think you go all in. They've called him the starter. Now, they did add Israel Abanikanda, picked him up off waivers from the Jets today. They did sign Keyshawn Vaughn to the practice squad. They do have Patrick Taylor Jr., who I guess would be the first man to play a role. Abanikanda seems like kind of wild card, but I think, and you can correct me if you think otherwise, Rachel, I think we're going to overthink this because it's Shanahan. We're all going to think we're going to get our butts Shanahaned to us at some point, and there's going to be some kind of chicanery where out of nowhere, Israel Abanikanda becomes a thing. He's a pretty good back. And it's entirely possible. So I'm not against picking up any of these guys if you have room on your roster. but I think you have to focus on Garendo at first. Do you agree?
Definitely. Yeah, I think the other guys would be good for DFS or prop bet throwing flyers, but Garendo is the guy for your fantasy football leagues.
For sure. Speedy guy, has been mostly a change of pace. We saw him have like a 71-yard run against Seattle. He's got 4.33 speed. I am a sucker. I like him to be bigger, but I'm a sucker for anyone who plays running back where the number after the 4 is a 3 on the 40 time. I cannot resist. So, and look, I don't know what just taking a step back, what are our expectations for this offense? One of the big issues, it seems to me, and so we have no Christian McCaffrey, so that's going to be an issue, not for Isaac Garendo, but for the offense in general. I think Trent Brown's absence has been brutal, and I don't know when he'll be back. A personal tragedy, if you didn't hear this week, I had a stillborn child, and had been dealing with injuries, but this is a rough spell for him. I don't know when we'll see him back, and they also have trouble at left guard as well. So what do we think of this offense? Where is this team going as you watch the San Francisco 49ers?
I mean, I think they're just going to be making plays. I don't know if they're big contenders, but they're fighters. They want to play good football. So we're going to see Garendo out there. We're going to see Debo out there. They're going to make their plays, but I don't know about, down the stretch because they lost a lot of big weapons.
Yeah, I was thinking last night about this. Like, what are the reliable pieces? Who are the pieces we can count on this offense? I mean, I think Kittle, you're still going to be playing every week. I like Juwan Jennings more than I like Debo right now. I mean, unless I'm in Scott Fishbowl and Debo's returning kicks again. But Debo has finished outside the top 36 pretty much weekly basis as a receiver. So since I want to say the middle of the season. So that hasn't been great. And Brock Purdy, you worry about the shoulder. So we'll see if this offense can stay on schedule. The running backs, we know they can be gold there. So I'm going to play that one. If the other ones are available, I'm probably, I can't get Garendo or somebody has already got him, there are leagues where I kept Garendo for this very moment. And I'm ready to crush with him. But if you didn't, I think those other guys like Abanaconda, they're worth flyers. I wouldn't spend a lot of money on them, 5-10% and see what happens. They're worthwhile speculative plays. Sincere McCormick, I sincerely believe, has an opportunity here. Is it a 25 to 50% worth of your waiver wire? He got the bulk of the carries last week. We do have Alexander Madison there. He was close to returning last week. Was listed as questionable, didn't make it. Zamir White, Lord only knows what his story is as he sits rotting at the end of some of my benches still. Soon to be replaced by Sincere McCormick. Do you have any views on this, on the Raiders offense in general and McCormick?
I think the Raiders are a mess. That's my overall view of the Raiders. So I'm not doing a lot with the Raiders, but yeah, if you have room to pick up someone, McCormick would be a good one.
Yeah, I think taking a chance here. I was looking at some of the comments on the same skill set. I thought Abanaconda was a bigger guy. Maybe I'm mistaken on that. Let me look. I need to look. And disabuse myself of my false narrative built in my brain. 5, 10. So he is 216 pounds. So I think that's Garendo is a little bigger, 6 foot 221. All right. They do sound very, very similar. Okay. Fair enough, John Bonneville. When will I learn not to doubt your word, sir? Browns run game clearly not the same without Prime Chubb. This is true, and so we should see a lot of volume there. I agree with that. It's okay, man. It's no worries. No worries. I thought you were asking a start sit question, and it was a waiver wire question. All right, so Sincere McCormick, when you look at the Raiders, I'm going to play Brock Bowers every week. I'm going to play the heck out of Jacoby Myers. I mean, that guy is totally underrated. We're going to talk about some other guys here later, but the backfield I've been avoiding. I think this is almost a case of the optimism of the unknown with Sincere McCormick because he's got a cool name and we haven't seen him fail miserably yet. I think he is worth. I could see paying that money. Ray Davis, though, is one we've seen enough, but playing behind James Cook, how confident are you he'll get enough work? I think Lester had a comment here that I don't disagree with. He could have racked up big time, but how many opportunities is he going to get? Is he more a handcuff to you than a standalone player?
As of now, I see him as a handcuff because we're going to week 14. We haven't seen, James Cook has taken the bulk of the load, so we haven't seen it yet. I mean, it's still early in Ray Davis's career, so maybe next year will be a different story. But as of now, he's more handcuff.
Yeah. So this is correct. They're both got a lot of speed. That's what I was thinking, right? Like, because I feel like Dorendo's kind of been used more as a change of pace, but he is bigger than I realized, and because of the speed. But both those guys got straight line speed, so that makes perfect sense. Tucker doing his best. We're going to talk about this guy. We're going to talk about him. We're not done with him yet. So Ray Davis, handcuff. Jonathan Brooks, I think, is in the same category, right? If you have Chuba Hubbard and you're heading down into the stretch run to get your playoffs, we did see him get a little more work this week. See a lot of Panthers on our lists today. Are we overly optimistic? I think it's a smart move if you have Hubbard. I don't think otherwise. I'd be taking a chance.
I'm not. I mean, Chuba has really proven himself this season. I'm glad I have him in multiple leagues. He's helping me out. But yeah, if you have room for Jonathan Brooks, pick him up. But otherwise, I mean, Chuba's the guy there.
All right. If you just tuned in, I'm Bob Harris. She's Rachel, the newest football guy. You can find her on the X machine at Tootsie Pop. You can find me there at Football Die Hard. Also on the Blue Ski. I'm there too. Waiting for Rachel to show up. Rachel, the newest staffer, we have a whole incoming class, 9 staffers. I'm going to try and get them on here over the final month here and get you familiar with some of them and what they're up to. But they'll all be contributing some writing here very soon. I believe starting week 15. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So looking forward to that. All right. And so you can hear me also on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. I'm on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 10 p.m. until midnight. Saturday nights, 8 to 11. And Sunday, 11 to 1 with Jeff Mans. Otherwise, with Mike Dempsey, who you will hear me with on the Football Guys Daily Update podcast every morning. Like, comes out at 5:30 a.m. Rise and shine and listen to Dempsey and me argue. It's great. 10 minutes just to give you enough news to get you started and on your way and set up for great success. See if we got any comments down here that we need to address. Oh, we're going to talk about that, Jimmy. We're going to get there. Hello, Ladarius. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you. I have Nixon Daniels on bye, Ann Dunn says. Which of these quarterbacks for this week? Russ, Stafford, Levis, Caleb. Have to drop Bigsby, Brooks, or Waddle, which are non-players for her. So just looking at the schedule real quick, we know Russ is playing Cleveland. Stafford is playing Buffalo. Levis is playing Jacksonville. Ding, ding, ding. Mm-hmm. Caleb is playing San Francisco, which I don't think is overly daunting. And I do like, I'm going to say, I like what Thomas Brown has done. I like what this offense has looked like with Thomas Brown at the helm. What do you think? So for me, it's probably between Levis and Caleb. Do you agree, disagree? And if so, who do you like?
Levis is the top of my list, and I kind of like Stafford as well, just with his weapons.
Yeah, I had some numbers here. I like Stafford always because of his weapons. I'm not sure I love the matchup, but might have to be playing from behind a little bit, right? And that's always
always got Puka and Cooper. Yeah, but I think Levis, we both agree on that matchup's going to be no doubt for him.
Yeah,
and with Westbrook-Ikhine that we keep alluding to.
You're getting there. Caleb Williams, though, averaging 23 points per game without Shane Waldron this year. This is from JJ Zachariason in his weekly data dump. With Waldron, it was 13.4. So there's been a difference with Thomas Brown running the offense. We'll see now that he's a head coach. We have a new offensive coordinator. I'm not sure how the play calling is going to work. If you know in the chat, give it to me there. Also, in 3 games without Shane Waldron, DJ Moore has 30 targets, 265 receiving yards. Keenan Allen has 31 targets, 200 receiving yards. Roma Dunze, 26 targets, 129 receiving yards. Everybody there seems to have risen up a little bit and become a little more valuable, a little more worthwhile. So, I wouldn't be against that, but I'm with you. I think Levis against Jacksonville, that's Jacksonville matchup is cannot resist. Do you have a preference who you drop there?
I'm not dropping Bigsby because ETN has not done a lot, so I don't trust him. So I want to hold on to Bigsby. I'm torn on the other ones. Like, I mean, we've already said so. Brooks is a Jonathan Brooks, right? I mean,
Right.
he's not really a factor, really. So I guess I would drop him. Waddle still has flashes, even
He
though
does have
he hasn't been as a star like he was last year, but he does have more upside than Brooks would. So I guess
nobody there's
Brooks.
been a star except Jonnu Smith. Everyone knows that. And Devon A.
Yes.
So I'm kind of with you here. Like, unless and you have Chuba Hubbard, and then I might have to sacrifice Waddle at that point. But again, if you're, wide receiver 4, hopefully you don't have to use them. We're getting that point of the year where you do start narrowing down your depth and trade it off for things you need more. And at this point, you do need more. You need something at quarterback. Brutal. Let's see what else we got here. Boy, I see the Westbrook-Ikhine everywhere. We're going to get to this. I'm putting it off. Hard to drop Brooks last week. Kept the legs of Charbonnet. Had to drop Brooks last week. Had to keep the legs of Charbonnet, Ray Davis, and Corum. Now I regret not dropping my boy Gus. Oh, Gus. It's interesting. Kamani Vidal not on Sigmund Bloom's list, not on my list. Do we have is it just like the position in general for the Chargers we're not that interested in? Doesn't look great. Like, Gus Edwards is not doing very well, but he's doing more than the other guys who might have chances to do better.
Right. I think it's just been a mess of a position there at the Chargers. Dobbins was doing good, and then he's out, and then we just can't trust it.
Yeah, so none of the ads candidates. So I think Rachel had it right. I think Bigsby still might have some standalone value. Brooks probably does not. Waddle does. So I think that's the breakdown there. It's perfectly reasonable answer. So thank you for your question. We appreciate that. So let's see if we covered everyone here. We did. Let's get on to the waiver wire wide receivers, because I know everyone wants to talk about Adam Thielen.
I do.
Former Viking. So that's I'm not saying you're a Vikings fan, but you might be. But I'm a total Adam Thielen stan. And so he came back the first week back. I wanted to get in on him. I used him as the outlier on my in and out column. Always the problem I have is we're trying to be aggressive with these players and get in front of get in front of things. And I should have been a little more patient with him and done it this week. He was phenomenal this week. Ended up in the top 10. He has that built-in connection with Bryce Young that goes back to last year. I like to remind people all the time when we're discussing wide receivers who don't have great quarterbacks, how great Adam Thielen was with Bryce Young last year, who wasn't great last year. Clearly improved. So how eager are you to land Adam Thielen? And would you pay more than Sigmund would?
Well, it depends how much fab you have, but I'm all in on Thielen. With so many teams on bye, you're going to need players, and Thielen is someone you can trust. I can trust him after what he showed last week. He's healthy from his injury. He's back, and he's connecting with Bryce Young, and he's back to the Thielen WR1 that he was.
Yeah, I think I think the role is ideal. What happens when the great, I'm told, Jalen Coker comes back? Are we concerned, or does he render the youngster, the talented, apparently youngster, obsolete? But John Bonneville, give us the scoop on Jalen Coker. What makes him so amazing while we're having this discussion? Is there any concern that this dilutes the pool too much, or we should have any worries?
I'm not worried. If Thielen's got his veteran leadership, his experience, he's good in the red zone. He's a touchdown monster, and so just that alone, I trust in Thielen.
I think going back to last year, the target share for Thielen with Bryce Young has been well over 20%. I know even with the games early this year before his injury, up through his injury, his target share, I think it's 18 games, was 25% with Bryce Young, and that was when he was getting almost goose egged by Deontay Johnson. We can talk about Deontay Johnson if you want. There's oddness going on there. When Rashad Bateman gets hurt in a game and has to come out, and Tylan Wallace moves in ahead of Deontay Johnson, I think we're finding out there's a flake factor here that we were not all aware of. And certainly Mike Tomlin somewhere is going, told you.
Yeah, there's something juicy there. I know. I want the tea. Spill the tea, somebody.
This is a fair assessment. I think all this week, all the Carolina Panthers, this is not going to be there this week. or this is not the week that I'm going to be forcing my Carolina Panthers into lineups. But down the stretch going beyond that, I think there might be some opportunities there. I want to say I had this pegged out. Let me take a quick look and see what I think. So we go Eagles, then Cowboys. It's not too worrisome. Cardinals, it's relatively tough. But the Buccaneers, when it matters most, week 17, that's a juicy matchup, as we have seen. So we do like that. So, yes, this week probably not a great week to play them. Would you sit Garrett Wilson for Thielen? Or NBI? Who's NBI? Why am I
Westbrook-Ikhine, the NWI.
Endo, yes, that makes a difference. All right, we'll get to NWI, but let's, for these purposes, is that outsmarting yourself? Because I believe Garrett Wilson is a top 10 receiving asset in fantasy football.
Right. I think maybe we're overthinking it at that point. I mean, you don't sit your studs.
This is true. All right, I'm
as much as I love Thielen.
I think it's safe to say, Rachel, you have more than a Thielen. Parker Washington. So it was a great game last week, and I was quite impressed. And I think this is what we've been hoping we'd see, this 100-yard game, the Christian Kirk role, him just step in and assume it. I think this might be an outlier game. He's had one other good game, but I think this might be an outlier. How eager to, I do think he's playable, especially with, 6 teams on bye. Is this a 10 to, but I think Bloom has him right as a 10 to 20% player as opposed to a bigger investment. Are you on board with that?
I'm on board with that. Yeah. I can't, it's not consistent yet enough for me to go all in.
Yeah, I think and that's exactly right. I mean, we'll see what Mac Jones is. The Titans weren't great against Washington, right? They're playing the Titans this week, and he does have the Jaguars do have a fairly easy schedule going forward, even though they're the easiest part of it. The teams they're playing are not great. I think Bloom has this right. What the heck flex level play for him? I would totally agree with that. The tight end on Bloom's waiver wire, there is a one tight end. We're going to talk about some other tight ends, so here in a minute. One tight end, Juwan Johnson, Taysom Hill. The great Taysom Hill goes by the wayside. It's fair to wonder if we see him again in the NFL. He's 35 years old. I'm just wondering if, could we have a new coaching staff there that doesn't view him or has a system that maybe he isn't make use of that versatile weaponry or whatever. But either way, so he still only has fewer than 30 catches this year. Do we think any tight end there is going to be a plug and play option, or are they going to be kind of what they've been? And I would include Foster Moreau in that conversation.
I don't trust it. I mean, I guess if you're really, really desperate, you have to, but hopefully there's better options available.
Yeah, we've been waiting for, how long have I been drafting Juwan Johnson in tight end premium?
Right, it's been 2 years. We're all in on Juwan this year, and then it doesn't happen.
The talent is there, but the role never quite manifests itself and turns into a thing that we can hang our hat on. I think that's where I'm at. And I mentioned, Taysom Hill's value comes from the fact he scores touchdowns, throws the ball, and runs the ball, right? His rushing numbers are greater. That versatility that comes with a tight end designation and the high leverage opportunities he gets, I don't think the other tight ends on that gets that. So we will with you, Scampers, as we pour one out for the beautiful Taysom Hill. Miss you, Taysom, already, man. All right, let's go look at some of our others here, because I think I know you're big on Austin Eckler, by the way. I just saw a report where he's suffered memory loss on both his concussions this year, and he's still suffering from symptoms from the one in Dallas, which was a brutal hit. He looked like he was totally knocked unconscious. We may have seen the last of Austin Eckler in a football uniform, I'm guessing, but he and Taysom Hill can start some form of business or perhaps give fantasy advice on a podcast with me.
They're going to take our jobs.
I'm saying we'll have new names up here, new faces. But Jerry McNichols and Chris Rodriguez are now the complimentary backs, or the guys that chip in behind Brian Robinson Jr. Do you have a preference, or is it get the one you want? I feel like, this is me, that Rodriguez was getting a lot of work late in the game last game because they were way up. I wonder if he would continue to get that. Do you like him in the order we have him listed? McNichols, then Rodriguez?
Yes, yeah. Chris Rodriguez was just the last game that he was showing the late flashes. McNichols probably is the one right behind Brian Robinson, but use Chris Rodriguez if you have a deeper league or your DFS play.
Yeah, I'm with you there. What is Scampers? Is he breaking news here? I see an out. I'm going, what? Scampers, the Adam Schefter of this chat. Let's see. They have no else to throw to. Let's see. So let's get to the Nick Westbrook-Ikhine questions because he is next on our list. So Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is a freak. There is no explanation for what he's doing. And I will define what he's doing and give you the numbers because it's just very unusual, right? And I know we keep saying it's not sustainable, yet he keeps sustaining it. 20 catches this season, 8 touchdowns. That's 1 touchdown every 2.5 receptions. As JJ Zacharyson pointed out, wide receivers across the league score touchdowns every 12.7 catches this season. So, and I know, we keep giving the same advice. Like, yes, he's been great. Yes, he scores touchdowns. No, he can't keep doing it. Yet here he is keeping doing it. So what are you doing with Nick Westbrook-Ikhine?
I think we have to buy in on him right now. It's past the point that it was like, is this something? Is it not? It is. He is something, and he is showing us that he is.
Yeah, I like, and the role has been good, but I think the key for me is early on it was like on such a narrow band of opportunities, not mention catches, but the thing that's happened more recently is he's getting 20% target shares. I want to just take a quick look here because I think it's been 3 straight games of 20% target share. That is a thing. Right, that makes him a thing, especially when Will Levis is making big plays. I mean, whether it's him, whether it's Westbrook-Ikhine, whether it's Chigakonkwo, somebody's getting him, and there's Scampers bringing it as I knew it. So yeah, Steve. So this is funny because me and Dempsey were talking about this. We had a call on the radio where someone asked, like, was it you, Steve? Asked, and like, we're not being dismissive of it, but you're playing the odd. You're playing the odds here, right? And what are the odds that Tommy Tremble's going to step into this offense and be a more productive player than George Kittle? I mean, it just like seemed, again, playing the odds. MWI playing 100% of the snaps as well. This is true. You missed all the nuggets there, and you can watch the replay. It's okay. Everyone can watch the replay. So yes, this is brutal. Let's see. We have some other NWI questions. What level of player can we drop for him? This does feel like one of those old cartoons where I'm holding the stick of dynamite when it explodes. Andrew Goodwin says. I think that's one of the concerns. But I think you can snuff out the fuse. I think you can feel comfortable enough with the role in this offense. I think we've seen the direction it's taking. So what level of player are we looking at? What level of player is NWI right now? I mean, last week he was top 10 wide receiver. Is he going to be like a wide receiver 2 level, or should we be safe and say wide receiver 3 level and build in a little bit for the volatility?
I want to say 2 at this point. As crazy as that sounds, I have him in a few leagues and I've been benching him and I've been regretting it ever since. Like, I have one league that I kept benching him for Wan'Dale Robinson, and that should not have happened. I should have played Nick Westbrook-Ikhine over Wan'Dale. So that's one person I want to start him over.
So I'm looking at this week. So we had the question about Garrett Wilson. I just want to bring up the numbers, and it was a bad week. I want to bring up the overall numbers now because Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. So I mean, I get the question, right? So I don't like. I always feel like I'm being dismissive of questions. Like, no, you can't do that. So over the whole season, Garrett Wilson is wide receiver 8. He's averaging 15 points a game, right? So we could take this. We can't take the streak out of Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. He's doing it. But like, if you're playing the odds, you try to play the more reliable player. And I don't know that Nick Westbrook-Ikhine right now that I consider the more reliable player. But like, if you did, Steve, and like you're already mad because you played, Kittle over Tommy Tremble. So like, part of fantasy football, Rachel, is like personal levels of risk tolerance. I think it's okay, and I'll have the conversation here every week almost that like I'm fine with you playing your hunches, Steve. If that's your hunch, I mean, Westbrook-Ikhine is getting it done. Thielen got it done. I don't like the matchup for him. I do like the matchup for Westbrook-Ikhine this week, though. And if you're sitting here saying, "Well, man, I'm not sure, Garrett Wilson can get it done." I mean, he is a top level play, but can he get it done in Miami? I don't, maybe so. But if that's your hunch, I'm not going to talk you out of it, right? Like, that's not what I'm here to do. So this is your team. I'm playing it safer than you, right? Like, I'm sitting here giving you advice, so I want to be responsible with it. I don't want to sit here and tell you, yeah, do this one crazy thing that but it's not entirely crazy, but it's not like the wise course of action. But look, you're in your end of your season. You're battling for a playoff. I don't know all the nuances of the situation. I don't know what your opponent's roster looks like. I don't know what the rest of your roster looks like. So again, I don't know that I have all the context here to say, Steve Pavia, that would be the most insane thing in the world. Because number one, just by itself, as that is written out, Rachel, that's not the craziest thing in the world, the way things have been going, correct? At least,
correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
on the numbers.
Like on the numbers that you like. So, and I'm a big advocate of divorcing the name from the numbers, right? But also, the good players, Garrett Wilson's a good player. And whatever you think of Aaron Rodgers, I think he's capable of getting the ball to Garrett Wilson. So I don't want to be dismissive of that, but I'm not going to overlook the Westbrook-Ikhine run and the matchup. So, Steve, there you have it. You have permission. I don't know if I would hold your hand and jump off the cliff with you, but I would, if you want me to push you off, I will. How's that? I think we've sorted that through. Just in general, Rachel, like when you're setting your lineups, how big of a risk taker are you? How interested are you in taking chances? Or I'm sitting here calling Westbrook-Ikhine volatile when he's not been volatile. Let me just bring up the numbers over the last 8 games when he's scored all those touchdowns and just see where he's at over the course of that span. And how many games has Levis been back? It's been 4 games with Levis, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So let's do that. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is a wide receiver 14, and Garrett Wilson is not. So, I mean, he's not even a viable starter over that same span. I mean, for the course of the season, he is. So just go back to the question. How big of a risk taker are you? How do you kind of assess these situations out? The streaking player versus the more proven over time player?
Well, I think we have to factor in we're going to week 14, and are you playoff contender or not?
Yeah.
Like, I have some leagues that I'm not in playoffs at all. So I'm might play Westbrook-Ikhine because I just want to get points and I just want to maximize what I can do and be more risky. But if I'm on the cusp of whether I'm going to make playoffs or not, I'm going to have to go with the elite player. And I would be madder at myself if I sat someone like Garrett Wilson and then I missed playoffs because of that. If that makes sense. So it depends on where you're at with contention. And then, how you personally feel. What are you going to be more mad about? Are you going to be mad that Garrett Wilson went off on your bench or Westbrook-Ikhine went off on your bench?
Yeah, that's to me like what can I live with? How can I look myself in the mirror and say, man, that was so stupid? If it doesn't work out right. Like, I think that's like Lester has one here. My gut told me to go with Mooney over Amari Cooper, and I was right in the smallest way possible. That seems reasonable. TDs themselves, volatile. And that's why we say with a guy like Westbrook-Ikhine, right? Like, touchdowns aren't sticky stats. They're not persistent. For him, they apparently are. But John has a great point. I mean, Aaron Rodgers just totally biffed. How often does that happen? Like, even old 41-year-old coming off an Achilles, Aaron Rodgers missed that pass. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Jeff Bolt, never sit your stud. So it is kind of a personal choice, though, right? I mean, like, I don't think there's a right answer here. Like, the right answer is the answer you like best. And so, like, we try to give sound advice. We try to give responsible advice. We probably play it safer than you would. And we always try to remind everyone, man, this is your team. You're the one who has to get up on Monday and go, damn, sorry, Joe, I didn't do what I wanted to do. And that's it. Can you live with the regrets? I think Rachel said it perfectly. John Bonneville, again, you have to know. So Westbrook-Ikhine's boom bust. Been a lot of booms. If you don't get the long TD and you're just going to drop him, then maybe he's not for you. And I think that's and that's part of that is like roster construction, Rachel. Like I do this a lot in best balls in the best ball part of the year, where if I feel like I have a lot of high floor guys, I'll be looking to add some of the more volatile players or some of the high upside, the boom bust plays, right? Like I have a ton of Jameson Williams. I have a ton of Christian Watson. You know how that's working out. The Jameson Williams is paying off way more. I finally went and looked at my best balls today to see like I never looked during the year to see where I'm at. And I'm okay. Because I do have a fair amount of Christian McCaffrey. I think this year I took Christian McCaffrey every number 1 pick overall that I had, which the last time I did that, Jonathan Taylor told me not to. Yet here I was doing it again. Lessons we don't learn are always the hardest lessons. So Kevontae Turpin. There's the thing about Kevontae Turpin. When I go to my next gen stats, fast players page, top speeds of the season, I see Kevontae's name at the top and I can't not look away. I get super excited. I don't know. Is he starting to get enough workload where he could be a viable dart toss play for you, Rachel, or is it just not enough?
I haven't pulled the trigger on Turpin yet myself, but I mean, he's definitely got intrigue.
Alec Pierce for the Colts, not knowing how long Josh Downs is going to be out. We saw A.D. Mitchell comes in. It seemed like the Colts went to more 2 tight end sets and fewer 3 wide receiver sets like this has been their norm. Part of this is going to be the boom bust nature of Anthony Richardson, who, again, I'm going to tell you people, he's playing better than the numbers suggest. I know you don't want to hear this. The passing numbers, right? Like the passing completion percentage is exactly what the Colts expected. I mean, they knew what he was coming in. And as receivers start catching all the passes at some point, catchable passes, that number will go up. But I think Alec Pierce is an interesting character. So between he and I know you like Trey Tucker, right? Do tell.
He's shown a few things the last couple of weeks. He had 82 yards in week 12 and 58 in week 13. Well, that was on 1 reception and a touchdown last week. So he's playing a role there. I mean, outside of Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. So if you need somebody else to pick up a deeper league, Trey Tucker is someone to look at.
Yeah, I think so. I think so as well. Noah Gray is, I've seen him mentioned multiple times in the chat. I don't know why he's not on Bloom's list. Maybe Bloom's assuming like he's a tight end 1 in Kansas City, right? Which is a non-controversial statement.
I know, like he's yeah.
Like it's been impressive. So do we trust this? Do we trust what we're seeing from this? Is it well, let's call him the Nick Westbrook-Ikhine of tight ends, right? What's your level of trust in that role? I'm feeling pretty comfortable with it.
I'm trusting it. I mean, he showed us some of it last year. So, I mean, there's enough sample set to go on that this is real. This is what he can produce. He's got the connection with Mahomes.
Mark Sampson, why would you ask me that? I think this is a fair point, Scamper. I think those guys are all in the same range. We got a few more minutes left. Let's see. Was there another name on my list there? Oh, yes, there was. Michael Penix Jr. So you're in a Superflex league and you're heading into your playoffs. If you have Kirk Cousins, do you have to have Michael Penix? And if you don't have Kirk Cousins, or do you feel like there's enough of a concern, like if Atlanta falls out of the playoffs, that maybe they give Penix a look? Do you have any of those concerns?
I'm not in on Penix at all on any factors. He's not somebody I'm looking at.
This is a Matt Waldman pick. I wonder if we're not going to see a play. Like there comes a point in Superflexes where any breathing body that's on the field is going to be worthwhile. Kirk Cousins on a bit of a skid here. He's gone 3 games without throwing a touchdown. He has 6 interceptions over that span. Drake London's been fine. I mean, like it hasn't seemed to hurt him. Mooney's been not as powerful as we like. Kyle Pitts has disappeared. Like if Kirk Cousins showed up in Atlanta and his superpower was fueling the fantasy fortunes of tight ends, as it has been, going back to Jordan Reed. I mean, we can go through the whole litany of guys in Minnesota that he carried the top 20 finishes or better. He's not doing that for Kyle Pitts. Are we at the point where Kyle Pitts just isn't good?
I was at the point a long time ago. I'm not a Pitts truther.
Dang. All right. Would you rather have Purdy, Stafford, and Anthony Richardson rest of the season in a 1 quarterback league?
That's it.
I'm going to say something not controversial here. First of all, I'm going to look at Football Guys rest of season rankings and just see where they're at on this, because I trust our projections. And by the way, you should all go to footballguys.com. If you're not subscribers, you should be subscribers and check it out. And just see where they're at on this rest of season, because I know where I'm at.
I was leaning Purdy.
Purdy is the first one on this list at number 9. Anthony Richardson is next at number 2. Stafford is down at number 21. It's weird how the guy with the best weapons, right, is like the low man on the totem pole. So here's how I would divide this out. Like, if I felt like I had a chance to win the championship, and the rest of my lineup is really good, I'd play it safe with Purdy. If I felt like I needed, like, everyone else is a high floor player, but I don't have any ceiling guys, it's Anthony Richardson, right? So that's kind of how I would play it out. Are you going to play it safe, or are you going to shoot for the moon, depending on your roster there, Rachel?
I'm definitely going Purdy first, but I have Stafford second for myself.
Lester is horrified. And that is very scary if that happens. I still blame Arthur Smith. Let's see what we have here. Griffin, ethics question. I'm in number 2 in the league, and my team is on the slide. Number 1 just lost Mason. He has more fab than me and will go hard on Guerrero. Should I alert folks with fab to bid aggressively, or do I cross my fingers and hope that my remaining fab will be enough? Well, if you know that he has, if he just lost Mason and he has more money, he's going to go harder on Guerrero than you. I would make sure everyone in my league knows. Where are you at on that ethically? Is that okay to help out the opposition, or would you dial back?
I mean, I would just look out for myself. I'd grow aggressive with my own fab and do what you can with what you have.
We did have a question I wanted to get to. Let's see if I can find it. Because there was a Jaden Reed question. And I thought, like, it was interesting because like Jaden Reed's very good, but he's not very consistent. How do you feel about him, aside the fact that he's a Packer?
I've liked him. I liked him coming in this year. He was one of my favorite players to watch, and I'm still playing him in some flex spots, and I still try to trust him.
I saw one too on Freiermuth over. Is it Freiermuth over Disley? Freiermuth has like what one good game. I'm doing a lousy job with the questions. Look at me go.
But you're all in on Disley, right? Isn't that your guy?
He is my guy, but it's all like kind of half joke and half not. Oh, Noah Gray or Freiermuth worth picking up instead of the Disley missile that I have. So, like, I do think right now, like, Disley has been the most consistent weapon, not named Labaconki, or the most consistent option. He was second on the team in targets up to this point. Let me see if that still stands. It may not, because last week's game he didn't do a darn thing. Let me bring up my Chargers. Will Disley is now third. Quentin Johnston moved into it, so it's 23% to McConkey, 16% to Johnson, 15% to Disley. I mean, that's a pretty good target share for a tight end. I mean, I like the upside of those other guys better because Disley's not been a great touchdown scorer. I mean, I like Noah Gray. I don't know if Freiermuth is a guy. Last week's game seemed to be the outlier for me. So I might go Disley over Freiermuth, but probably Gray over him.
Right. I would want to get Gray if you're able to pick him up.
I agree with that.
Plug in right away.
All right. If I don't find the re-question, I'm sad. Ethics, on the ethics question, I know John Bonneville thinks it's going to be a horrible thing. I think it's less horrible than John does. If you're doing that, like if you're making sure it's on everyone's radar, if your people in your league know. I mean, it is like, number one, go after him and max bid him and maybe see how it goes. But I don't know that it's horrible to tell other people what's going on, John Bonneville. Because it was my home league and number one. I think that's fair. All right. Well, Jaden Reed, anyway. I love Jaden Reed. I think he's a great player. I think he's not as consistent as I would like him to be. But the weeks he hasn't been great, he's also scored touchdowns. What it was against the Bears, he had 2 catches, one of them a touchdown. So Like, I think he's a hard guy not to play. I'll put it like that. So I couldn't see your options anyway. We got to roll out of here. It's been a fantastic first show for Rachel. You can follow her on the X Machine at Tootsie Pop. Well, what's your article assignments coming up week 15?
I'm going to do a start sit article next week.
Outstanding. We'll look forward to it. And congratulations. Great to have you on board. Look forward to working with you over the coming many years. Super excited to have you here. And thanks everyone for coming. Again, you can catch us both at footballguys.com. It's a website. You should go there. You should sign up. Get the free daily email update, if nothing else. Get the daily update podcast every morning, 5:30 a.m. in the morning with Mike Dempsey and me. Kind of summarize what you got in the overnight email. But the email comes with so much more. It's completely free. Gives you free articles, stats, rankings, all kinds of tons of stuff. And then if you like all that, subscribe to the site and get all the good work of all the good people there. Also, come here every Tuesday at this time for On the Hot Seat. I have a great guest every week, as you can see. And on Saturdays, my Ask Me Anything live stream will be available to you. Look forward to seeing you. And like Scamper says, congrats, Rachel. Look forward to seeing you.